I can still hear the crystal glasses clinking that night, the soft hum of violins echoing off the marble walls. Success has its own sound, subtle, polished, enviable. I had just sold my company for $23 million. The ink was still wet on the contract, the wire hadn't even hit my account yet, and already the vultures circled in designer clothes with painted smiles and greedy eyes. My wife's family was among them. Polite applause, forced laughter, champagne poured like liquid gold. And then, one small flicker in the crowd that no one else saw. Her sister, always watching me too closely, always carrying that look, as though she deserved what was mine. She thought I wasn't paying attention, but I saw her hand tremble slightly as she leaned over my glass. A shimmer of liquid, too thick for champagne, slid into the flute before she pulled back. Subtle, quick, practiced. The betrayal didn't feel like shock, it felt like confirmation. I didn't flinch, I didn't call her out. I simply lifted the glass, pretending to admire the bubbles, before setting it down beside another, her boyfriend's. When the room erupted into a cheer, I switched them as easily as exchanging handshakes. By the time I raised my toast, he was already sipping from her gift. Within minutes, the color drained from his face. His smile collapsed. He staggered, glass shattering against the floor. And her eyes, her perfect, venomous eyes, snapped toward me. Not in fear for him, in fear of me. That was the first taste of justice. But let me rewind. Years before the money, before the empire, before the silent deals and boardroom victories, there was loyalty. I married into her family thinking I'd gained allies, a second home. My wife was steady, kind, patient. Her sister? Well, she played the part of the charming confidant, always asking about my projects, laughing too loud at my jokes, slipping compliments in places she had no business putting them. At first, I thought it was harmless, until I caught her once, late at night, lingering too close to my desk. She wasn't admiring my work. She was taking pictures of confidential files. I confronted her. She cried, swore she was only curious. My wife begged me to let it go. Family, she said. Blood, she said. So I buried the suspicion, but I didn't forget. Then the whispers started. A bad investment traced back to her. A competitor who suddenly had data only my inner circle knew. And worst of all, the discovery that she wasn't just stealing from me, she was planning to destroy me, to inherit what her sister married into. That night at the party wasn't her first attempt. It was simply the one she thought would finish me. I didn't survive by luck. I survived by preparation. For months, I'd been building my safety net. Every keystroke she logged on my stolen files, I traced. Every call she made, every meeting she thought was secret, I recorded. I hired private investigators, lawyers on retainer, bank accounts shielded and protected, untouchable. While she schemed, I calculated. While she poisoned glasses, I poisoned trust. By the time the deal closed, I had enough evidence stacked to bury her 10 times over. Fraud, espionage, conspiracy. Even her boyfriend, the one convulsing on my ballroom floor, was a pawn in her game, fronting shell companies with money funneled straight from my accounts. I didn't expose her then, not at the party. No, that moment wasn't for the world. That was for me. Watching her panic as her plan collapsed in front of the same crowd she wanted to impress. The real strike came later. 3 weeks after the party, the subpoenas landed. Federal agents, sealed indictments, asset freezes. Her face, once smug and polished, splashed across headlines. Socialite accused in corporate espionage scandal. My wife, she broke down when the truth surfaced. Betrayal is cruelest when it comes wrapped in family. But I reminded her gently, none of this was her fault. Her sister made her choice. I stayed quiet through the storm. No interviews, no statements. Let the world think I was simply the victim of greed. They didn't need to know that I orchestrated every step, pulling strings with precision until she danced herself into a noose. And when the trial began, I attended only once, sat in the back row, calm, silent. She spotted me as they brought her in, handcuffed, shackled, stripped of the glamour she once weaponized. Her eyes begged for mercy. I gave her nothing. But revenge isn't about rage, it's about symmetry. The boyfriend she nearly killed with her little champagne trick, he survived, but not without scars. He testified against her in exchange for leniency, exposing every detail of their plot. In the end, her own weapon, her own partner, was what gutted her defense. Perfect symmetry. She thought she could steal my future. Instead, I erased hers. Do I regret it? No. Regret is for people who doubt the worth of their survival. I built everything I had with sleepless nights, bleeding knuckles, and an unshakable will. She thought she could steal it with shortcuts and poison. So I gave her a taste of her own medicine, not in the glass, but in the collapse of everything she valued: status, wealth, freedom. Sometimes I think back to that party, the moment the glass switched hands, the way the light caught the bubbles, fragile, fleeting. One choice, 1 second, deciding who would fall. She wanted me gone. Instead, I watched her empire rot while mine multiplied. 23 million was just the beginning. The real fortune was watching her lose everything. And in that silence, her silence, my silence, justice was finally served.